Welcome to another day in the Matrix. Waters above crypto. I hope you had a beautiful weekend. I'm sending you all love and high vibrations. An exciting start to the week with Bitcoin trading around 57K and regaining dominance. So in today's video, I'm going to jump into the Bitcoin and XRP charts to go over the weekly close from yesterday and share the analysis on this current week, how I see it playing out for Bitcoin and the altcoins, and also share a little Gematria decode to start things out. So if you're new here, we do cryptocurrency technical analysis and combine it with Gematria, Numerology, and Astrology to understand these markets. Feel free to subscribe and turn on the bell notification to stay updated on when new videos come out. And make sure to give this video a like and share this channel with other conscious people to help grow this community. And for those of you that want to learn how to do technical analysis and combine it with Gematria, you can join my Mastermind course. My email's in the description box to get in contact with me for access to the course. And with that being said, let's take the red pill. So we're going to start out with tomorrow's date numerology as the 10/12/2021, giving us the 9. And this 9 is really important because it comes back to the ticker symbol BTC. And you can see that right here in the Chaldean cipher. Also, when typing in Bitcoin, you can see this reduces to 9 in all 4 base ciphers. So you have 9999. Now, another interesting thing about tomorrow's date added up as 10 plus 12 plus 20 plus 21, giving us that 63. And remember, all these numbers are working in a mirroring effect, as above, so below, as within, so without. This 63 can be perceived as a 36 as well. And of course, that comes right back here over to the full reduction of Bitcoin. And of course, we had all those 9s, and that is showing me a match. Something else that's really interesting about this 36 is it also shows up in Ethereum, which is of course the biggest altcoin. It is the #1 market cap alt. And you can see we get that 36 right there in the Chaldean cipher. So this is really important. Also, we have a tie right here between the 95 coming back to Neptune. And there's so much to say, and I do plan to have a future decode for Ethereum in my Patreon, hopefully by mid-November. So that'll be really exciting to share as well. I'll try to get it out before the end of November because by the end of November, I'm anticipating a new all-time high for Ethereum. I do believe the Bitcoin will see new all-time highs before the start of November, but I think the altcoins as a whole still have a little more time to go sideways, and I'll break that down as we go further, but I do believe I've said that a couple of times here on this channel. Anyways, one of the things that's interesting about this connection between the number 36 and Ethereum, just like I showed you before with the date numerology being 63, we also just entered the 41st week of the year. So this is currently the 41st week of the year starting today, and we could see that 41 in the full reduction of Ethereum. So that's a really important tie that we've all brought together. And since we're also talking about tomorrow, which is the date of 10/12/2021, October 12th, this is also on a Tuesday, and Tuesday being Martes, or the day of Mars. And the Greek equivalent of Mars is Aries. And Aries is really special because it has that 43 in the English ordinal, which shown here is the 14th prime number. And that 14 is really important because it's coming right back to the ticker symbol of ETH in the Chaldean cipher, 14. And then remember, I just showed you Ethereum giving us that 41 because the numbers are mirrored, as above, so below. So this 41 is critical because we're in the 41st week of the year. And of course, we're seeing that direct tie between Aries as Tuesday, the 43 being the 14th prime number. Another thing that I think is really interesting is how Ethereum is kind of stuck at that $3,600 resistance. And of course, we have that 36. So as I've shown many times here on this channel, we can be very multifaceted with our approach of decoding. We can be using it for the week of the year. We could be using it for the price resistance. We could be using it for the support. We've shown that on all these coins, shown that with Hedera Hashgraph, Solana, Ethereum, Bitcoin, XRP. It is how this market works. It operates on Gematria. Now, there's a direct tie here between Bitcoin and the Society of Jesus. I've shown this many times because the Society of Jesus worships the cult of Saturn. So we have that 56, of course, in the ticker symbol coming back to Society of Jesus with the 56 right here. And remember, I told everyone in my last YouTube video that I'm anticipating a resistance for Bitcoin around the $57,000 level. This is all because of the code. So 56 to 57K was what I said as the upside target in my last YouTube video, and we are hitting that perfectly. It's not just blasting through these levels. It hit 56K. I think it traded there at about like 6 days or so, and then it finally just breached that 57K today. And it's because of that transition into Monday. And Monday is all about the moon. And the moon has that 23 in Chaldean, just like Bitcoin has that 23. And the moon also has that 21. And again, that 21 is coming back to Saturn, 21. And Saturn comes back to Satoshi Nakamoto, who has the 181. And that 181 is the 42nd prime. And that 42 comes directly back to Saturn. It also comes back to Satoshi, 24. As above, so below. Everything is mirrored. So this is beautiful to watch this code play out. Again, this is a very interesting week because this is the week where I've been telling everyone to anticipate Bitcoin dominance starting to reverse. Now, I was waiting for about 45% dominance to make that call. And today we're trading at 45% dominance for Bitcoin. And it's pretty much working out perfectly according to the code. So let's get into some technical analysis. Very messy chart. Let me turn off all this nonsense. And we're just going to look at the candles because that's a very good way to start off your TA every time you do a session. You always want to just kind of look at the price action, okay? So right here, we can see an obvious break of structure. Like I said, we saw that resistance trading around that $46,000 level for about 5 trading candles. And then today we've started to make a new high in the microstructure. Of course, breaking this high right here of September 7th was very critical because that showed a new higher high in the short-term structure. So we have our low, higher low, higher low, higher low, and then we have our high, high, high. This is a trend reversal, in the micro at least. In the macro, the big level we're looking for is right here. So breaking this high of around $59,600 and having a daily close above that level, I believe right after that happens, we will shortly be seeing a retest of previous highs. So said this many times, I've been anticipating a new all-time high for Bitcoin by the end of this month. So anytime before November pretty much fits the bill. Why? Because November is the month of Bitcoin. This is the month where we will see Bitcoin dominance go from that 45% level to upwards of 58% in a single month. And that's where that, we've seen it happen also last year back here. Pretty much just went up in a straight line after that. So this is very important that we consider because right now is not the best time to be considering Bitcoin as a big position on our portfolios. The ROI is lower and the buying opportunities were back here. As opposed to altcoins, they're pretty much all going to have a massive amount of ROI, and on any dips, we can be generating a substantial amount of money. Also, this transition between late October into November, it is when Bitcoin starts to reverse in dominance, and we know this is the way that bull runs end. A bull run ends with a parabolic advance for Bitcoin, followed by a little bit of a correction, and during that correction, that money, that liquidity flows into the altcoins. So this is the topside level that is extremely critical. Any daily closes above 60K, I anticipate retests of previous all-time high pretty fast. Now, the big question here is where are we going like into the downside? What are our targets? So let's look at some fibs. So I know this is really hard to see because the way I have it set up. Let me actually pull this out this way. So our fibs, whoop. There we go. So I have my fib set at the current all-time high into the swing low, which happened right over there. And that shows us that where we're trading at right now is actually the 786 fib. Let me increase the size of this so it'll make it a little easier for you to see. So you see this green line, that's the trading price, and that is perfectly at the 786. And the 786 was the pull from the all-time high down to the swing low of June full moon. So it's a very important fib. And with this 786, typically daily closures above this level is indicative of continuation. So we have a lot of things going on that are telling me about continuation, and that definitely is interesting with the upcoming full moon. Now, the previous bull run of 2017, we saw by October 12th, which is tomorrow, new all-time highs. Then in the run before that in 2013, when Bitcoin was the only cryptocurrency trading, what happened was we saw retests of highs around October 12th, 13th, but we didn't see a break into new highs until around the 23rd or 24th of October. Again, this is solidifying my feeling about a new all-time high before the end of the month. What day it happens is irrelevant to me because we've missed the opportunities for buying. At this time, anyone waiting for pullbacks at this stage of the bull run, it's dicey. It's really dicey, especially people that are trying to short this right now. Really not smart. So where we're at right now is a really precarious stage because if we are closing above this 786, that signs a continuation. Also, we have a couple topside levels. If we pull a fib from the Rosh Hashanah highs down to the swing low, we can see that the 1618 is essentially in line with the previous highs of March. So we have this little pocket above where we have the highs of May and the highs of March, and those are still lower highs. So until we break all-time highs across the board, this is still a lower high. And the moment we break the all-time high, well, bull run continues because according to what a bull run actually is just continuation, new highs after new highs. And this is really important to kind of see because we're at the cusp of that moment. We are in the final moments of a bull run, essentially. So I'm really interested in how this week is going to play out because Bitcoin has historically always done really well this week. And we have two bull runs to back that up. So a couple things we can discuss is potentially our closures. We had our weekly close. Of course, that was extremely bullish. I will turn off all these drawings and show you the exponential moving averages. And we can see, well, actually, the important thing was we closed this past weekly just yesterday above the 702 fib, and that's really good. So the 702 fib is something I like to use, especially with Bitcoin, again, because Bitcoin has that 72 in the English ordinal cipher. So 72 is an important number for Bitcoin. I also believe we'll see a $72,000 Bitcoin by the new moon of November. That's another kind of a prediction I have. I'll make a full-blown video on that a little later in the week. So we're seeing that was a very bullish close. We got above the 702, and of course we closed above the local highs in the structure, which were around Rosh Hashanah. Then we have the 2-day candle closing very soon. Let me turn off the drawings, and we can just see this is just green after green after green. 2-day closures. So this is very bullish. And then if I bring up the Bollinger Bands, we could see that right now we are actually trading above the topside Bollinger Band. And whenever we get our closures above topside band, that typically that's a sign of continuation. So on the daily RSI, I do believe we've just sort of entered the overbought area. Yes, we have. So we're slightly above 72. And that's one thing to consider because the highs back here, which were only trading around 42,000, you can see that the high on the RSI was about 75, 76. And today we're only trading around 71, 72. Yeah, we're around 71, but we're trading at 57,000. So this is... it's a divergence, but it's hard to use that sort of call at this time because of this stage of the bull run just being so algorithmically perfect, comparatively to previous bull runs. So I don't want to overthink this shit right now. I just want to look at it for what it is, which is a big ritual. And that ritual is bring Bitcoin into dominance by November and then blow off top into the December new moon. That's how it works. It's happened time and time again. Those of people out there, especially the analysts that are very adamant about a extended cycle, perhaps going into January, February, they just don't know the esoteric side of things. It's all about Saturnalia. So go ahead and study that. Remember Saturn, Satoshi, big connection there. Saturnalia is in December. Period. End of story. It is also the 12th month, and 12 mirrored is 21. 21 is very important to Bitcoin. We're in the 21st year of the 21st century. We're seeing a bull run. On top of that, Bitcoin has 21 million coins in its supply. It's all about that 21, guys. And the 12 is really important, especially this year, because that 12 comes back to the 144. And that 144 number is where I believe Bitcoin will hit its all-time high, 144,000. 144, 12th square. So really important. And let's just consider a couple other things. We do have the daily we could look at and just look at some of our exponential moving averages. We'll start with our SMAs. So we have our wolfish cross with the 8 above the 55 simple. Then we can see that we are squeezing between the 200 simple and the 200 EMA. That's very important, because once that light green 200 exponential moving average crosses above the 200 simple moving average, it's game over. It's bull run mode 1000%. Okay, you can see that right here. Once this structure has the light green above the dark green, it will stay that way for a hot minute. So it's really important to see that, because since back here around retrograde, we flipped. So just something to keep in mind. One other thing, since I brought up retrograde, is how this was during Mercury retrograde right here, and then we just went up in a straight line, and that seems to be the structure that we're facing today. So let me show you without any of the moving averages. So Mercury retrograde right around here, we traded flat, kind of in a support level, and then just went up in a straight line. Excuse me. And then we could see that right here. Traded flat, down, and then just boom, popped up. And then this was one last thing I wanted to mention in regards to the moons. So we have a new moon that happened in February, and then it was, I believe, on the 10th, and then we actually maintained bullish for about 10 or 11 trading days, topping out about 10 days after. So our recent new moon was on the 6th of October, and if I go 10 days out, that's the 16th of October. We could be repeating this fractal almost identically, the February move, where we had lows around the full moon, followed by continuation through Mercury retrograde all the way past the new moon up to 10 days. So we have lows on the full moon, perfect. Then we have Mercury retrograde, same as before. Flat structure, same as that. Straight line breakout, just like that. And then we've made it past the new moon, and we're hitting highs today. So we're like 4 or 5 trading days past the new moon, and we're still going up. So that's another thing to keep in mind, everyone. We could be just repeating this previous fractal identically. And I wouldn't be surprised if it happened, because this whole market runs on an algorithm. So it's something really intriguing. I also like how it hit the top on February 21st. The 21st day of that month, always coming back to the 21s. And we've seen this happen before, where like all of our lows are happening around the 21st. So anywho, I'll carry on. The upside target here is naturally this level of around 60K. That would be like a psychological resistance level. And then slightly past that would be the 1618 in the short-term fib pull, which you can see is around 61,200. So topside targets would be somewhere between 60 to 61.2, and then any daily closures above 61.2 is gonna definitely get dicey. It's gonna be pretty much all-time highs right after that. So not too much time left. We just have to see how the rest of this day goes. And then, of course, tomorrow's really interesting with that connection to Mercury and Aries, with Ethereum and our altcoins. So I'm really interested in how this next couple days is going to play out. Downside targets are naturally going to be around 53,000, because that would be a retest of the previous fractal. And then ultimate downside targets would be retesting this golden pocket area. More importantly, it would be 51,000. The 618, because once you break above the 786 and start retesting highs, the 618 is like your new 236. So anyone that studies TA or has taken my mastermind course, you know that the ultimate downside support is the 236. And then above that, once you break out of the golden pocket and get to highs, it's the 618. So just consider you flip up your levels higher, because it's become more bullish. And this is showing me that the level of 51,000 down to about maybe 50 or 48,000 is about as low as we'll get. At this time, I do not think Bitcoin will go below 47,000 ever. That's it. The more it keeps going up, the less it's going to pull back. So yeah, it's really important to know that. Also, if Bitcoin was to decide to roll over here from 57,000 down to 50, expect the altcoins to take a huge shit. So this is really important because at this stage of the bull run, while Bitcoin has dominance, any bigger pullbacks are going to lead to a double or triple the amount of losses for the altcoins. Again, just all buying opportunities, not financial advice. Let's move on to the XRP chart. We gave top side and bottom side levels for Bitcoin. Okay, so definitely an interesting chart here. I will start with the weekly just to get that out of the way. The weekly close, we cleared 2 weeks in a row above the 382 fib. That's really good. And then also if we were, okay, so we'll stay here just to keep it simple. So we did close 2 weekly closes above the 382 fib. Let's look at our exponential moving averages. Beautiful. So they are in a bullish posture where we see the 13 above the 21, above the 34. And now our 34 on the weekly has gotten above the 86 cent level. Remember, we called the bottom at 86 cents, and I said I do not think XRP will ever go to that level ever again. That is the lowest it's going. So now with this 34 exponential moving average at 90 cents, it is solidifying my opinion on that. And I do believe even below 95 might not happen. So a retest of the 21 on the weekly is possible, especially if Bitcoin pulls back to 50K or 51K. And you can see right here, that would only be about a 13.5% pullback. We have to see how this goes because yeah, it's really interesting. XRP was sideways in the last bull run all the way up until like the first week of December. So while coins like Ethereum might be breaking out 2 to 3 weeks earlier, XRP is definitely a late mover. And when it moves, it moves. It really moves. So this is something interesting. Definitely a nice close. But unlike Bitcoin, Bitcoin would be trading and closing above this structure. You could see XRP is still suppressed. It's still down. So of course, because it's gotten multiple higher lows, that is good, but no highs in the structure just yet. So until it closes a weekly above like $1.42, it's pretty much sideways, just like I said would happen for this coin. So let's look at the 2-day chart. 2 days looking pretty good. We can see the 13 above the 21, above the 34. That's really nice. And you could also see they're all coiling up around that 382 level. So that's going to be an important support. But we might not close above the previous 2 days, so that's interesting. I do think that we need to, if we're going to see a little short-term continuation, we need to get a bullish engulfing candle. So, yep, definitely something to be said about there. Let's look at our simple moving averages. These are looking great. So, okay, good. And then we have, of course, the 2-day MACD is bullish flipped, but that doesn't necessarily mean we're just going to immediately go up in a straight line. Whenever the MACD on the 2-day goes bullish for XRP, it's typically a good sign for some bullish price action. But we've seen happen before, like back here, where we get our flip. You could see that turning green on July 10th, and then we did actually trend down. But any buying after that flip of the MACD would have averaged you in to an incredible move, 150, 160% in short order. So it's always a good indicator for those of you, a little cheat code. Now let's look at the daily. It's pretty good. So you could see that the wolf cross is about to happen. The 8 symbol above the 55, that's very important. That can cross and kind of maintain sideways for a little bit though, so we do have to pay attention to that. Another thing to mention is this 200 exponential is sitting around 91 cents, just like I told you with the 34 exponential moving average on the weekly. So this is starting to trend up, and until this 200 exponential moving average gets above the 200 simple, we're essentially not going to see any major moves. When these cross above each other, which could take literally all the way until December, I would be very confident in XRP heading to new all-time highs, and that is going to be a big move, probably between $7 to $14. So something to keep in mind. A lot of upside ahead for XRP being the most suppressed top altcoin. The structure right now, though, is definitely not looking good because we have the highs of Rosh Hashanah still sitting at around 141. Today we're trading at 114, as opposed to Bitcoin. The highs over here on Rosh Hashanah were 52,053, and it's trading today at 57. So you guys see what I mean now, how important it is to pay attention to this change of Bitcoin dominance and how Bitcoin becomes the dominant coin by mid-October, or let's just say October new moon to the November new moon. It really starts to reverse at that time, and that's exactly what we're seeing. So something to consider right now, definitely with the full moon, I'm anticipating a pullback for Ethereum XRP, and all the altcoins. For Bitcoin, I am not expecting it as much because this is the stage in the bull run where Bitcoin takes over. So while dominance is heading to the upside, we can actually see XRP and ETH have a pretty nice pullback into the full moon this month. I don't think it's going to be anything like dramatic, but it is more probable to happen than following Bitcoin to new highs. So I've given some bottom side levels. Again, I see a dramatic move to 91 cents is possible, but moreover, probably in the mid 90s is where we'll see on the full moon. We have about 9 days to go, so I'll be making a bunch of YouTube videos between now and then. Nothing to worry about. And as for upside targets, we naturally have this 0.5 fib, somewhere around $1.23. And that was what I mentioned in my last video. I actually told everyone to watch out for about $1.20, and that's precisely what we saw. We saw XRP try multiple daily trades above $1.20, quick rejections, and then here we are right now, still pretty much trading within a couple percent of that level. And I do see some room for the opportunity of Bitcoin to have bullish price action for the next 4 or 5 days, just because we've shown on the February fractal. And if it does such, definitely if it's trading above 60K with daily closures, we're going to start seeing new all-time highs before the end of this month. And if we're seeing that move happen, we could still see the altcoins pull back on the full moon. It's a little complicated, but just trust the process. So anyways, everyone, I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day in the Matrix. Much love.